Hello, good morning. Welcome in to another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. It is, Kyle, what day is it? Thursday.
Thursday.
The third day of October, year of our Lord 2024. I'm still feeling a little bit under the weather, so if I cough a lot, Kyle might have to just talk for a couple seconds. But yeah, so far, decent start to October. I'm green both days of risking small and just kind of having brain fog looking at the computer. We've had no shortage of China tickers to look at every single morning. We did an extra long live stream yesterday, so go check that out in the playlist section on the YouTube channel if you're interested. But yeah, what are your thoughts so far as we head into the end of the week? Gapper list looks quite low. China's momentum seems like it's drifting off. Is it time to pull back?
Yeah, we're gapping down across the board. First day, probably in the entire run-up, where there's actually been some real weakness. We've always gapped up and sold off, but then to keep the run going, today is like the first real gap down. Almost like I look at everything, it's gapping down. And I don't know what that means. I mean, it eventually was due. I don't know if that means the stimulus or the hype around the China stocks are over. Maybe just a cool down period. I really have no idea. It could be either or, where it's over or there's a cool down period. But yeah, we've had a pretty good start to the October because of that. But yeah, it just looks like I think how weak they will be today, because they're gapping down and everyone's maybe FOMOing or it's the first pullback. But there's also a world where these, I don't know, just chop around. They don't really have maybe clean weak first red days as maybe we would be used to in small caps. So we'll see maybe how choppy or how or not natural, how expected these red days should be, if that makes sense, and compared to what we're used to. So I think that'll be a telling story.
Yeah, makes sense to me. We got Jeff in here, Joseph, Jabril, Mash for Fun, P Daddy. P Daddy. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a great day and a great October so far. The leaves are changing. Fall is in the air. Go get yourself some apple cider and a donut. Maybe pick up a pumpkin as well, because it is the month of Halloween. Make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. We just met up and did a ton of content over the weekend, and we'll be releasing that over the next few weeks and months. So if you want access to that and never to miss any of it, make sure you're subscribed right here to the Clover Trading YouTube channel. We post videos every Monday, long-form content, and we're live every day the market is open. What more could you ask for if you're just out there looking for some trading education? Alrighty. Yeah, not too many people in here today. Makes me wonder if everyone's just kind of like sick of the China stocks. There's not that many gappers. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I also forgot to say that. But where do you want to start, Louise? We got one gapper over 70%, and it looks to be a cheapie.
Yeah, E-Lab. We can go over it.
Oh, we're going to go over it. Let me see here. If I stop talking for a second, it's because someone's coming in to work on my sink. Nice. And my dog might be barking. Theo over here. All right, I'll get you to the dilution tracker, start talking, and I'll scroll, and I might mute myself.
Yeah, no worries. So E-Lab here had a really well. Let me backtrack. This was for those who are like up to date on like liquidation plays and like the kind of the scammy pump and dump tickers. E-Lab was one that I thought was going to be one, but didn't. If that makes sense. Like it IPO'd around $4. It had, I think, a sketchy underwriter, and then it didn't actually walk up and liquidate. And so when it gapped up back in January of 2024 at like $3, my thoughts were it was either going to squeeze out huge and actually do the thing, right? Do the manipulation, or it was going to dump massively in any shares that like maybe the underwriters had. We're going to use those shares. Turns out that the latter was the case. They dumped it from the mid threes all the way down to the mid ones. Massive fade. I remember that day. And ever since then, they've been nothing but straight down. And it's actually quite sad. In less than a year, they've gone from, again, that $3 level down to 13 cents here. So, or 8 cents. So I can't feel that bullish on something like this. Clearly, there's a fundamental inside to this company of why it's just getting absolutely obliterated, not even on gap days, but just on as it's faded that hard. I would imagine there's some kind of dilution. If not, Dom's already looking. Let me actually look myself just to get familiar. It might not even be dilution too. It might just be insider selling, because that's usually what some of these sketchy tickers are.
Did you go over the news?
What is the news? I was about to say, so
hour ago, they expanded their patent portfolio with 2 new filings for EL22 and muscle loss treatment for obese patients.
yeah, so sounds like a lot of nothing, just more jargon. So yeah, I'm not short biased by any means. I'm not going to short a 13-cent stock, but I wouldn't feel all that confident on the long side for the reason of its history. Does that mean I'm going to be right? No, it could still run. I just, as a long, I want to put myself in decently solid odds scenarios, and this one just does not look and feel like that at all. So for me, it's going to be nothing. If this was if this gap was gapping up to 50 cents, 40 cents, 60 cents, I definitely would be short biased, 100%. But I'm just not going to short a 13, 14 cent ticker, and I'm also not going to long it. So pretty much nothing for me.
Yeah, when you start talking about 14-cent gappers, I lose interest a bit. Crappy company, top left to bottom right, history of scamminess. Pretty much has continued to make lower highs since that day of dump from the $4 area down to ones that day, and then since then, even just recently on what day is this? 9/20. We have a giant gap down from 28 to 11 cents. Let me see what happened that day. Of course, there's no news. They did an offering on the 23rd, so that was just the gap down. It was an $8 million public offering. And this is just they're swimming upstream here. To get this thing to run, you'd probably have to pump out more than 1 billion shares of volume, catch some shorts off guard. I don't know, but it has a history of really just staying in the dumps. So I'm definitely not long biased. There's no pattern from here. For anyone who's going to ask if this is a breakout over like 11.6, not really my speed. I want to be buying breakouts over stocks that run to set their resistance level, not that it's just the highs of the day of it down 70%. So for all those reasons, not really interested in anything here. Across the board, gappers are just kind of gross today, but this being the biggest one makes me a little sad just because I don't expect a lot from it. That is ELEV, or that's not ELAB. It's called Elevi, so I was like, it's got to be ELEV. I don't think CETX is up 3,900%, right? So that must be just a reverse split or something that happened today.
Yes.
Peggy is a 16-cent stock. Is it even worth talking about, or should we just rinse and repeat? Is there anything different here that you see? Theo?
Peggy, no. Peggy's also really bad, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, numerous reverse splits. A couple of runs here and there, but I mean, it was literally at $3 2 months ago. It's now down 90% off its highs. Like also has a gap down from 80 cents down to 40 cents in September. So probably an offering or some bad news. It's almost like a mirror image of ELAB to some degree in terms of how we got here. So I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even be touching this long either. And again, unfortunately, 16 cents, so won't be shorting it either.
Yeah, this one maybe less scammy from the perspective of the daily chart, just that this has had runs before it's had sustained momentum. I'm guessing this was probably when Indo and them were running energy play. Yeah. But ones up to the sixes, probably a reverse split maybe. No, I don't know if I remember it being at 6. But since then, it's been pretty much beaten into the ground. And yeah, there's just like, what do you want from me here? Like, I think it's like, I guess, a warming up sector with what's going on in the Middle East, but that's been a sector that since 2022 has been quite horrible. So it's just not something I want to be partaking in. Theo, a sec. I don't want him to open the door. Yeah, this is just, it's poop on a stick. And both the biggest gappers of the day, 14 cents, 16 cent. If they go, they go. I will root them on their way for higher prices, but I don't see me participating in them today at all.
Agreed.
What else do we have?
But not much else.
There's a dollar stock popping up, TUVX.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that one. Mine as well. 50 or 48%. Low floater, sub mill. News is announces
Run through this
positive
for me, Kyle.
Yeah, sure. Positive outcome of data of safety and monitoring committee reviewed its phase 1B 2A clinical trial. So jargon, more pharmaceutical jargon for their phase 1/2 trial. Okay, daily chart wise, had a few gap and craps, I shouldn't even say that. No real sustained runs, maybe a day or two back in 2022. I don't even know if it was at $100 or if that was a reverse split. I would imagine it is because it touched 400 in 2021. I doubt that was at 400. Yeah. Yep. Okay, yeah, they did probably a 10-to-1 reverse split because the high for me is 420. But yeah, this one's a little bit better because it's not 10 cents, but I don't feel great about this one. What does the dilution look like? Is there anything really ugly out there for this one? Yeah, across the board, almost everything is medium to not great. They do have 10 months of cash left, but they did an offering, or they have an S1 from September that looks priced in already. It doesn't like they've used it yet. 175. Oh, exercise price of 2. Where are we at? Are we at 2? We're close to 2. Yeah, 185. So that really kills, I think, a long thesis for me. Not like I was going to long it, but if I wanted to feel good about it or confident about it. Also warrants at 2 from September. So that's not great. And that looks like the most. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So unfortunately, we're out with another crappy one, which is, I'm sure it maybe runs a little bit, but with dilution and warrants at 2, that doesn't make for a very confident long. It actually makes sense. It actually just tapped over 2 pre-market and then immediately stuffed. So we will see. I mean, there's a world where maybe there's enough volume that if it holds 2 and has so much volume, the dilution won't matter. So maybe that's something I'd look for in a long or as a long bias trader. But if there's any difficulty over 2 whatsoever, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Might even try to be a little bit of discretionary in terms of taking maybe a short on it as well, even though it's a lower price gap lower percentage gap. It's not something like 70, 80, 90, 100. It's more like the 50s. But if it fails too hard enough, this thing could just fade back down to like 150 or lower. We'll see.
Yeah, that still doesn't even sound fun. Maybe if it was at 3 into all this resistance from back here. But once again, I don't know what it is. The daily charts all look the same today, where it's like up 50 to 80% on the day, but the candle is like not even getting anywhere close to previous levels because we're so far off our highs and off recent levels too. I mean, like I said, 3 is the support from where it's been a few months ago, and we were down like 60% off those highs, or off those lows. So no interest to the long side. I don't want to be buying day ones into resistance. Float is the smallest one of the day, so 2.77 million float, whereas the other ones are kind of bigger and low priced. This is kind of medium priced and pretty small float, but everything is all risk across the board high, so that is a no for me, dog.
Agreed.
Pretty easy no's. It feels like it might be a light day in terms of buttons clicked, like really low.
Really low.
All right, we'll take a couple of your comments, and then we will get on out of here. Another slow day. No need to waste anyone's time if there's nothing to talk about. 123 Drummer Max says Wheeler low float. This is a recent runner. Anything going on here?
I think that was up yesterday. I mean, unfortunately, it's right below the resistance from the previous run in September. I feel like if you took the first green day or the first strong day back yesterday into today, you get a nice gap up. But after that happens, I don't really know much else with it. I don't know if it runs more. I don't know if it fails. I don't have a framework or a structure in my brain of like, okay, I've seen this before and this is a setup I know. I slightly know the first strong day in a while and then buy it overnight for a gap. But after that, which it's already done, I'm at a loss here, Jim. So I'm just going to leave it alone.
Yeah. Just kind of commenting on it. There's no comment for me. Kind of maybe short into resistance, but it's a decent move too. Like I guess 7 to 22 in pre-market, but there's so much range on this chart that sounds scarier than it does good when we're not at the highs. So nice to see some momentum. Maybe in a week we're talking about it again, breaking out over 30. I doubt it, but it's a nice chart moving. There's a lot. It's hard to keep track right now. I feel like of all the things that are moving. Maybe scanning a little bit more. I need to be doing at nighttime just to find more of these runners. But just because we have more on watch and more running doesn't mean I want to click more buttons and do more. Like I don't want to do anything with this, but maybe I want to be aware of it in like 3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we got? Do you think the China names will be more crowded this morning due to with the lack of big gappers today?
I got no idea really. I mean, by crowded in what way? Crowded long, crowded short? Probably means crowded short. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
If it wasn't crowded, the volume would be 0.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know any shorts who are feeling juiced up about shorting 5 to 10% gap downs. so I would argue no. And if they are, I wish the best of luck to them.
On their journey.
I mean, even duo, the most crowded short is the biggest gap down 20%. So anyone who's chasing this, thinking this is going to go lower, I think is taking slightly crazy pills. And maybe it does go lower, but like not enough to justify the risk reward here. Like, what am I going to do? Short duo down 20% to make another 5 to 10? Like, it just doesn't. I just don't see the appeal. And honestly, and then maybe if I'm thinking like most short sellers are, that's probably why I think it won't be crowded, because most people aren't going to want to chase these gap downs on most of these tickers. So,
yeah, I'm not like thrilled at all today. I'm gonna head downstairs and take a look at all of them, see where everything's at this morning, see if any new ones pop up. But I've had my fun with you. I lost like $100 on it 2 days ago. I didn't trade it yesterday, which ended up being a good thing because I would have been annoyed by the end of the day. The good ones yesterday were the bigger caps. Your Futus, your LXs, your Babas. So that was kind of fun. I like trade. I much prefer to short that stuff than low float runners. But yeah, as far as China goes, we will see if anything pops back up, if the sector kind of fizzles, or if we get new waves and new runners. It seems like there's no shortage of China runners. So maybe we'll get another 10 next week. But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for being here. Huddie, I think, should be back tomorrow for another episode of Good Morning Nasdaq. Thank you for Kyle for stepping in.
yes, sir. No problem.
We're going to go hop in the Clover trading room. Do I have a webinar today? Probably just put me in somewhere.
Yeah, you can join me today.
Okay.
We didn't put you on just to see where your schedule was when you're getting back, but yeah, you can join me.
All right, wonderful. Sounds good. We will see all you 4-leaf clovers at 11. Is it 11?
Yes.
All right, and we'll see you all tomorrow on the YouTube channel. So have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and just have a great day.